A wrench's brutal swing shatters the silence of a walk-in cold room freezer, leaving a woman's skull throbbing, her wrists shredded bloody by coarse ropes. On October 1, 2018, Eastport's tech darling, a social media genius, teeters on death's edge, her breaths frosting in a merciless tomb. Betrayed by her husband of 3 years, a man she trusted for a decade since college, she's the victim of his chilling plot. The polished CEO of Adamson Foods, crushed by a $50,000 debt to a scar-faced drug lord, locked her away for a $140,000 insurance payout. Yet the cold room's lethal frost mysteriously weakens, its temperature tampered to spare her. Did her husband, once her soulmate, sabotage his own deadly scheme, or does a sinister truth lurk in the ice? As Detective Gabriel Rasmus hunts through fraud, cryptic emails, and fractured trust, Eastport's coastal shadows hide a conspiracy that grips the heart like a vice. This isn't mere betrayal. It's a descent into a frozen hell where love turns to murder, and the truth stabs sharper than any blade. The hum of a walk-in cold room freezer cuts through Eastport's pre-dawn stillness, its icy breath cloaking a nightmare. Inside Adamson Foods' warehouse, Eric Winks, a loyal employee since the company's start 6 years ago, fumbles with the heavy lock, his breath fogging in the coastal chill. The door swings open, revealing Winifred Elliott, 32, crumpled on the frost-slicked floor, wrists raw from ropes, a bloody gash on her temple from a wrench's brutal strike. Her shallow breaths are the only sign of life in this frozen cage. Eric's shout echoes, shattering the warehouse's silence. Sirens wail as Eastport police swarm the scene, their boots crunching on the gravel lot. Detective Gabriel Rasmus, a 12-year veteran of homicide, steps into the cold room, his eyes scanning the chaos. Scattered meat crates, a wrench glinting under fluorescent light, and rope marks screaming restraint. "I'll make sure to track down whoever did this," he mutters, his voice low but resolute. The CSI team notes the cold room's temperature, oddly lowered, not lethal, raising questions about the intent behind this attempted murder. Outside, Eastport's coastal pulse hums. Dockworkers unload shrimp, gulls screech over foggy harbors. But Adamson Foods, a struggling producer of seafood and frozen meals, is now a crime scene. Eric, shaken, tells Rasmus he found Liam Adamson's car abandoned at a city center garage last night. Liam, the company's charismatic CEO and Eric's college friend, has vanished, leaving his wife, Winifred, a celebrated social media marketer, to die. Rasmus's gaze lingers on a photo of the couple pinned to an office corkboard, Winifred's radiant smile, Liam's confident grin, their 3-year marriage rooted in a decade of friendship. Betrayal hangs heavy in the air. At Eastport General, doctors fight to stabilize Winifred, her survival a miracle tied to the tampered cold room settings. Rasmus stands by her bedside, her pale face a map of trauma. She stirs, eyes fluttering, but no words come, only a haunted stare. Captain Lena Holmes, Rasmus's steely superior, joins him, her clipboard detailing Adamson Foods' financial ruin, a $50,000 debt to a drug lord, a $140,000 insurance policy on Winifred, naming Liam beneficiary. Insurance fraud? Rasmus muses, his jaw tightening. Holmes nods, but the sabotage temperature gnaws at him. Why spare her? Eric, chain-smoking by the warehouse, recounts Liam's recent stress, his late-night calls, and a cryptic mention of Lord B. Bowen, a scar-faced investor with a black Cadillac Escalade. Rasmus scribbles notes, the coastal wind whipping his coat. The cold room's disabled camera, shut off the day Winifred vanished, hints at an inside job. As dawn breaks, painting Eastport's piers in gold, Rasmus senses a deeper conspiracy. A patrol officer radios in. Liam's burner phone, found in the garage, holds a single text. "Plans in motion." The words jolt Rasmus, his pulse quickening. Someone knows more than they're saying, and Liam's trail is still warm. Salt air clings to Eastport's waterfront as Detective Gabriel Rasmus navigates the hospital's sterile halls, the cold room crimes echo in his mind. Winifred Elliott lies propped in her bed, her wrists bandaged, her eyes hollow with the weight of betrayal. "He hit me," she whispers, voice brittle, recounting fragments of that night. Liam Adamson, her husband of 3 years, lured her to Adamson Foods' cold room, claiming inventory issues. His wrench struck her temple, his words chilling. "This is the only way, Winnie. I wish there was another way, but I just have to do it." Her gaze falters, the decade-long bond from college now a jagged wound. Rasmus leans forward, notebook in hand, as Winifred's memory flickers like a dying bulb. She recalls Liam's panic, his ramblings about a Lord B and a debt that threatened everything. "He said we'd lose it all," she murmurs, tears tracing her cheeks. Rasmus nods, piecing together the insurance fraud puzzle, a $140,000 policy to erase a $50,000 debt. But the cold room's tampered settings, lowered to save her, don't add up. Was it guilt or something else? Outside, Eastport's docks buzz with fishermen hauling crab traps, oblivious to the conspiracy unfolding. Captain Lena Holmes briefs Rasmus at the station, her voice sharp. Financial records reveal Liam's downfall. An online investors' fraud gutted Adamson Foods, leaving bills unpaid and the company teetering. Lord B. Bowen, a drug cartel boss with a scarred face, loaned Liam the $50,000, his threats pushing Liam to desperation. Holmes slides over a photo of Bowen's black Cadillac Escalade parked at a seedy pier bar. "He's our next stop," she says. Rasmus tracks down Kathleen Pedro, Winifred's personal assistant, at a harborside cafe. Kathleen, 28, clutches her coffee, eyes red. "Winnie is the best thing that happened to me," she says, voice cracking. "Our clients valued her brilliance." She recounts Winifred's recent anxiety, a bruise on her arm and a cryptic email about fixing things. Rasmus's pen pauses. Winifred hid her fears, but from whom? Kathleen's words stir suspicion. Did Liam act alone, or was someone pulling strings? Back at the warehouse, Rasmus examines the cold room, its steel walls now a silent witness to betrayal. Forensics confirm the wrench's fingerprints match Liam's, but the disabled camera nags at him. A flashback cuts through. Winifred and Liam at a college bonfire, laughing, their future bright. The contrast stings. How did love curdle into this cold room crime? Rasmus's radio crackles. A tip links Liam to Kenneth Rudy, a long-lost friend with an extortion rap sheet, spotted at Eastport's train station days ago. Phone records show frequent calls between them, the last one hours before Winifred's ordeal. As dusk paints Eastport's coastline in crimson, Rasmus stands on the pier, the ocean's roar mirroring his resolve. Rudy's involvement hints at a broader plot, and Liam's car at the city garage, its burner phone a breadcrumb, suggests he's close. A dockworker's tip electrifies the air. Rudy was seen near the warehouse the night Winifred vanished, his shadow fleeting but unmistakable. Rasmus grips his notepad, the conspiracy tightening like a noose. The hunt is on, and Eastport's secrets are starting to crack. Waves crash against Eastport's weathered piers, their roar masking the menace in a dockside office where Lord B. Bowen holds court. Detective Gabriel Rasmus steps inside, the air thick with cigar smoke and the glint of Bowen's black Cadillac Escalade visible through grimy windows. Bowen, a drug cartel boss with a jagged scar slicing his cheek, leans back, gold chain flashing. "Liam owed me $50,000, he admits, voice smooth as oil, denying any role in the cold room crime. "I leaned on him, sure, but I don't touch wives." Rasmus's eyes narrow, catching Bowen's fleeting smirk. Truth or deflection? Back at Adamson Foods, CSI techs swarm the cold room, their flashlights dancing over steel walls. The temperature control, deliberately tampered, spared Winifred Elliott from freezing to death, hinting at Liam Adamson's remorse or a deeper ploy. Rasmus kneels by the wrench, its handle etched with Liam's prints, and puzzles over the disabled camera. "Someone knew this place cold," he mutters, the coastal damp seeping into his bones. The insurance fraud angle, $140,000 to erase a $50,000 debt, feels too neat, like a puzzle missing a piece. Eric winks, pacing outside, lights another cigarette, his loyalty to Liam fraying. "He was my college buddy. Started this place 6 years ago," he tells Rasmus, voice hoarse. "But lately? Jumpy, always on the phone, muttering about Bowen." Eric's eyes dart to the warehouse, where workers crate shrimp under floodlights. He recalls Liam's late-night rants about losing everything, his love for Winifred clashing with desperation. Rasmus jots notes, the ocean's salt stinging his face, sensing Eric's holding back. A lead pulls Rasmus to Eastport's train station, its platform buzzing with crabbers and commuters. Kenneth Rudy, Liam's old friend with an extortion rap sheet, was spotted here days before Winifred's ordeal. Rasmus flashes Rudy's mugshot to a ticket clerk, who nods. "Saw him with a guy. Looked like your man Liam." Phone records confirm frequent calls, their last exchange hours before the crime. Rasmus grips his radio, the station's neon flickering like a warning. A dock worker's tip ignites a spark. Rudy lingered near Adamson Foods that night, his presence a ghost in the fog. As gulls wheel overhead, Rasmus feels the conspiracy tightening, a net cast wide and closing fast. Sunlight spills through Eastport General's blinds, casting stripes across Winifred Elliott's hospital bed, where she grips the sheets, her bandaged wrists a map of survival. Detective Gabriel Rasmus sits beside her, his notepad open, as she pieces together the night her world shattered. Liam was frantic, she says, voice trembling, recalling his call to the cold room. "He talked about Bowen, said we'd lose everything." Her memory fractures, Liam's wrench crashing down, his anguished plea. "This is the only way, Winnie." The decade of love since college feels like a lie, her heart a wound deeper than her temple's scar. Rasmus probes gently, noting the $140,000 insurance policy tied to Liam's $50,000 debt to Bowen, a drug lord whose threats pushed him to attempt murder. Winifred's eyes widen at the tampered cold room settings. "He came back," she whispers, grappling with Liam's possible remorse. A flashback surges. Their third anniversary, Liam toasting her brilliance as a social media marketer, his smile hiding unpaid bills. The contrast burns, fueling Rasmus's drive to unravel this coastal city crime. At the station, Captain Lena Holmes pulls up Kenneth Rudy's file, his extortion history a red flag. "Met Liam at the train station," she says, tossing Rasmus a surveillance still of Rudy, 35, skulking near Adamson Foods. "Pitched some get-rich scheme to save the company?" Rasmus wonders, the coastal wind rattling the windows. Rudy's calls to Liam, frequent and furtive, suggest a role in the conspiracy. But how deep? Holmes flags a new lead, the burner phone from Liam's car. Its text, "Plans in motion," tied to an untraceable number. Rasmus's pulse quickens. Someone else was in the loop. Kathleen Pedro meets Rasmus at a pierside diner, its jukebox humming. Winifred's assistant, her eyes red, clutches a photo of them at a tech conference. "Winnie's the best thing that happened to me," she says, voice breaking. "Clients loved her, but she was off, bruised arm, dodging my questions." Kathleen reveals an email Winifred sent days before. "Need to fix this mess." Rasmus scribbles, the diner's fish fry scent grounding him. Was Winifred shielding Liam or someone else? As dusk cloaks Eastport's harbors, Rasmus revisits the cold room, its silence oppressive. The disabled camera nags at him, a deliberate blackout. A memory of his own, a lost partner, gunned down on these docks, sharpens his resolve. His radio crackles. A Brooklyn tip places Liam at the airport, boarding pass in hand. The hunt surges forward, but a harbor lookout's whisper stops Rasmus cold. Bowen's Cadillac was parked near the warehouse that night, its engine idling long after hours. The net of betrayal widens, and Eastport's secrets pulse like a heartbeat. Jet engines rumble beyond the glass walls of Brooklyn's airport, where a handcuffed Liam Adamson slumps in a holding room, his eyes hollowed by days on the run. Detective Gabriel Rasmus lands on the tarmac, his coat flapping in the coastal wind carried from Eastport, determination etched in his stride. Inside, Liam, 34, faces him, the weight of his betrayal heavy. "It's over, isn't it?" he murmurs, voice cracked. Rasmus nods, setting down a laptop recovered from Liam's bag, its screen glowing with a draft email, a confession that lays bare the cold room crime. Liam's words spill like a breached dam. Crippled by an online investor's fraud, Adamson Foods teetered, and a $50,000 debt to Lord B. Bowen, a drug cartel boss, pushed him to the edge. The $140,000 insurance policy on his wife, Winifred Elliott, seemed a lifeline. "I thought it'd be quick," he chokes, recalling the wrench's swing, his plea. "This is the only way, Winnie." But guilt clawed him back to the cold room, where he lowered the temperature, praying Eric Winks would find her alive. "I couldn't let her die," he whispers, head in hands. Rasmus listens, his pen steady, but the confession feels layered. Remorse or manipulation? The disabled camera, Liam's prints on the wrench, and a burner phone's text. Plans in motion paint a calculated attempt at murder. Yet the sabotaged cold room gnaws at him, a flicker of redemption in a coastal city, crime steeped in desperation. A flashback cuts through. Liam and Winifred dancing at a college mixer, her laugh bright, his promises earnest. The memory sours against the reality of her bloodied wrists, her trust shattered after a decade. Back in Eastport, Kathleen Pedro visits Winifred at the hospital, the harbor's fog pressing against the windows. "They got him," Kathleen says, her voice soft. Winifred, bandaged but upright, stares at the ceiling, grappling with Liam's capture. 10 years, she murmurs, her voice raw, "and he locked me in that freezer." Kathleen grips her hand, recounting Winifred's brilliance as a social media marketer, now overshadowed by betrayal. A nurse interrupts. Winifred's discharge is near, her future uncertain. Rasmus boards a flight with Liam in custody, Eastport's piers fading below. Captain Lena Holmes radios from the station, confirming Kenneth Rudy's alibi. He was pitching shady deals, not orchestrating the crime. But Bowen's Cadillac, idling near the warehouse that night, keeps Rasmus on edge. As the plane descends, a Port Authority officer hands him a new lead. Liam's laptop holds a second email, unsent, addressed to Winifred. "I loved you always," it reads, "but I broke us." Rasmus's jaw tightens. The words are a confession but also a plea, and Eastport's conspiracy is far from closed. Seagulls scream over Eastport's docks, their cries sharp against the clatter of crab traps as the town buzzes with whispers of the cold room crime. Inside the precinct, Detective Gabriel Rasmus spreads evidence across a table. Liam Adamson's wrench, the disabled camera's memory card, Winifred Elliott's affidavit, and the damning laptop confession. Captain Lena Holmes paces, her eyes on the insurance policy, $140,000 to erase a $50,000 debt to a drug cartel boss. "It's airtight," she says, but Rasmus hesitates, the sabotaged cold room a riddle unsolved. Was Liam's remorse genuine or a calculated mask? At Eastport General, Winifred walks the halls, her steps tentative, wrists still bandaged. A nurse encourages her, but her mind replays the freezer's hum, Liam's wrench, his whispered betrayal. She meets Kathleen Pedro in the cafeteria, where harbor lights flicker through the windows. "I'm not seeing him," Winifred declares, her voice firm despite the pain. "I'm leaving, abroad, somewhere new." Kathleen nods, tearful, clutching a photo of Winifred pitching to tech giants. "You're stronger than this," she says, but Winifred's eyes are distant, plotting a life beyond Eastport's betrayal. Rasmus visits the warehouse, its cold room now sealed, the air heavy with fish and frost. He traces the temperature controls, forensics confirming Liam's tampering saved Winifred's life. A memory stabs him, a partner lost to a dockside bust, his absence a scar. The case's weight fuels Rasmus's drive. This isn't just financial desperation, it's a fracture of trust. He digs into Lord B. Bowen's role, learning his Cadillac was spotted circling the warehouse post-crime. A dockworker's account tightens the thread. Bowen met Liam days before, his threats explicit. In a coastal dive bar, Rasmus confronts Eric Winks, who's drowning his shock in whiskey. Liam was frantic, Eric slurs, recalling late-night calls about Bowen's pressure and a failed investor. He loved her, man. College sweethearts. Rasmus presses. Did Eric see Kenneth Rudy near the warehouse? Eric's eyes flicker, admitting Rudy's brief visit, pitching business. Rasmus files it away. Rudy's extortion past lingers, but Liam acted alone. The bar's jukebox wails, mirroring Eastport's restless pulse. As night falls, the town's media dubs the case the Cold Room Conspiracy, headlines plastered across fish markets and piers. Rasmus returns to the station, where Holmes preps for trial. Winifred's affidavit, raw with her ordeal, is the prosecution's cornerstone. A late-night call from Brooklyn PD jolts Rasmus. Airport security footage shows Liam hesitating before his flight, clutching a letter never mailed. Its contents, faxed over, reveal a plea to Winifred. I sabotaged the cold room to save you. Forgive me. Rasmus stares at the words, the coastal moon casting shadows. The trial looms, but a dockside whisper hints Bowen's cartel is watching, and Eastport's secrets aren't buried yet. Gavel strikes echo through Eastport's courthouse, the air thick with the weight of betrayal as Liam Adamson's trial unfolds. The packed gallery buzzes, reporters scribbling under the glare of fluorescent lights. The cold room crime, now a coastal city spectacle. Detective Gabriel Rasmus sits in the back, his notepad worn, watching prosecutors lay out the case. Liam's wrench, etched with his prints, a disabled camera, Winifred Elliott's affidavit, her words raw with the sting of a decade-long bond shattered. The $140,000 insurance policy, meant to erase a $50,000 debt to a drug cartel boss, paints Liam's attempt at murder in stark relief. The prosecutor's voice cuts sharp, detailing Liam's descent, Adamson Foods gutted by an investor's fraud, Bowen's threats pushing him to lock Winifred in the freezer. A laptop confession, recovered from Brooklyn's airport, seals his guilt. I sabotaged the cold room to save her. The defense counters, pleading temporary insanity, arguing Liam's tampering was redemption. Eric Winks takes the stand, his voice unsteady. Liam was my college friend, built this company, he says, 38, eyes downcast. He loved Winifred, but the debt broke him. His loyalty phrase, the truth heavier than his words. Kathleen Pedro, Winifred's assistant, testifies next, clutching a tech conference badge. Winifred's brilliance lit up boardrooms, she says, voice cracking. That freezer stole her spirit. Her account of Winifred's bruised arm and cryptic email, hinting at Liam's desperation, grips the jury. Winifred, absent, refuses to face her husband, her affidavit a silent scream of survival. Rasmus shifts, the coastal wind rattling courtroom windows, his mind on the sabotaged cold room. Was Liam's act remorse or a plea for leniency? The jury deliberates briefly, their verdict swift, guilty of attempted first-degree murder. The judge, voice stern, sentences Liam to 12 years, parole possible after 9. Liam stands, head bowed, accepting his fate. Given final words, he speaks softly, voice trembling. Winifred, I broke us. I don't expect forgiveness, only that you find peace. The gallery hushes, Eastport's piers visible through fogged glass. The trial's end, a hollow victory. Rasmus exhales, justice served, but the cost, a fractured love, lingers like salt on the tongue. As Liam is led away, reporters swarm outside, dubbing it the Cold Room Conspiracy. Rasmus slips past, his thoughts on Winifred's absence. A clerk hands him a note. Winifred's left Eastport, her destination unknown. The coastal town hums, fish markets bustling, gulls circling, but the case's shadow clings. A dockworker's whisper about Bowen's cartel, still circling Adamson Foods, sparks a flicker of unease. Rasmus grips his keys, the next chapter unwritten, Eastport's secrets far from settled. Twilight's glow bathes Eastport's harbor, waves whispering against barnacled pilings as Winifred Elliott's presence fades from the coastal town. She steps onto a plane, her backpack light, a new identity tucked in her heart, bound for an undisclosed city abroad. Once a social media titan, her tech brilliance dimmed by Liam Adamson's betrayal, she leaves behind a career and a decade of love. A note to Detective Gabriel Rasmus slipped under his precinct door reads, "You gave me justice when I had none." Its weight lingers, a testament to her resolve to rise beyond the cold room crime. In a state prison's gray cell, Liam etches thoughts into a worn notebook, the wrenches swing and his plea. "This is the only way, Winnie." A relentless haunt. The $50,000 debt to Lord B. Bowen, a drug cartel boss, drove his attempt at murder, the $140,000 insurance scheme costing him everything. He scribes unsent letters to Winifred, each word a futile bid for forgiveness, his love, a chain forged in financial desperation. The cold room's sabotaged chill, his one act of remorse, echoes in his dreams. A fleeting hope she survived. Rasmus leans against a pier's railing, the ocean's pulse steady, his case file sealed. Winifred's note, folded in his pocket, speaks of resilience, easing the ache of a partner lost to these docks years ago. Eastport churns on, fishmongers hawk crabs, gulls dive, but Adamson Foods teeters on collapse. Eric Winks, ever loyal, pitches to buyers, his faith a spark against foreclosure's tide. The trials echo. The cold room conspiracy fades from coastal newsstands, but its scar remains. Bowen's cartel, a shadow over Eastport's piers, draws fresh police eyes, his black Cadillac Escalade a specter in the fog. Rasmus logs it, sensing a new case brewing. At a dockside stall, he buys a coffee, overhearing locals weave the crime into lore. The freezer, the wrench, a love betrayed. Winifred's strength, though unseen, is the town's quiet pulse, her exodus a beacon through the haze of domestic betrayal. As stars prick the coastal sky, Rasmus walks the boardwalk, salt air sharp. Liam's prison letters, piling unread, bind him to a past he can't reclaim. Winifred, somewhere far, crafts a new life, her spirit unbroken by the freezer's chill. The case's truth settles. Trust can shatter, but endurance prevails. A radio crackle cuts the night, a tip on Bowen's latest move, his cartel circling Eastport's edges. Rasmus grips his badge, the harbor's rhythm unbroken, a new conspiracy stirring in the salt-soaked dark. If today's case left you questioning everything, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more truths that chill to the core. Until then, stay curious and stay safe.